Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming extreme pattern we're going to have. We're going to have a ton of flips in there. It's going to be all over the place. But before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. And then also our very awesome channel membership, which you can check out next to that subscribe button today. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, now that it's officially meteorological spring as of March 1st, how would you rank the winter of 2020 to 2021? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at our current radar, and as you can see, there's pretty much nothing going on outside of basically the southeast and the deep south, where we have a lot of showers and thunderstorms going on. Let's just go ahead and zoom in down there real quick. Alright, and as you can see now, we do have some heavier showers and thunderstorms. Like I said, hardly thunderstorms. We have some down there for southern Alabama heading in towards Montgomery that are in the 40 to 50 dBz range. That's typically when you start to see a little bit more chance of thunder and lightning potentially. But heavy rain within that pocket there from Louisiana that extends up in through Mississippi and in through central Alabama, that is going to make its way across Georgia and South Carolina, eventually exiting the East Coast there, and relatively innocently. I don't think we're expecting anything too major out of this, maybe 2 inches of rain maximum or 3. Compared to what we've already had, that's not a huge deal at all, but look out for some spotty flooding for sure with this heavier rain. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to jump into our model guidance and take a look at that upcoming temperature pattern, which could have some very extreme changes coming up. Now, first things first, we're actually going to take a look at how the past 10 days or 14 days or so have gone. And here's actually the past 7 days real quick. So we're talking about from March 2nd backwards to 7 days ago. So the previous week about. And as you can see, we've actually had a quite pleasant pattern here in the east. And then out west, they've had some colder temperatures. Pretty much some of the coldest temperatures they've had all winter for the most part. Around for the west, because most of the time that cold air has actually been located in the central or eastern United States so far for most of this winter, at least a very potent cold air, but it has made its way generally back west. Now, let's take a look at the 7 days before that period, and as you can see, it was located mostly over Texas and Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi. This isn't a real surprise. This made national news, obviously, so everybody knows about this already. But I just find it very interesting, the big pattern switch we had from the 7 days prior and then the 7 days that we just had, how big of a flip that was there. That's a massive, massive change, and we're going to have something similar coming up as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at that upcoming pattern in just a moment. First things first, here we are at Tuesday morning this morning, and as you can see for today, we have some below average temperatures located in the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, and even the South Central United States again. Up there in the Northeast, that is far below normal temperatures, and those blues indicated, I mean they're indicating 15 to 28 degrees below normal there. And then the greens is about 10 to 15 degrees below normal. So we're taking a look at some far below normal temperatures up here for the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, and then the South Central United States especially. We do have some warmer pockets, especially there up there in the upper Midwest, and then down for the Southeast, where it's probably very nice down there in Florida. I would love to be there right now. It sounds like they're having beautiful weather from the look of things. By the time we're reaching tomorrow morning, very, very early, probably about 1 a.m. on Wednesday, March 3rd, you can see we still have those quite pleasant conditions down there for Florida. Also up there for the Great Lakes now, portions of the Ohio Valley, and then up there for the upper Midwest and Plains still. We see a lot of that cold for the east, and then the South Central United States is a lot less potent by the time we're reaching tomorrow. We're only seeing those greens indicating, again, about 10 to 15 degrees below normal, which is still pretty far below normal, but compared to those blues we were having the day before, it's not quite as bad. But this is some Arctic air. It is significantly colder than we just had in our most recent pattern. So we've had a big switch. You guys probably got very spoiled with that nicer weather, and now it's going to feel so cold when that cold comes back for a little bit here. We are going to see an end to that, though. We will take a look at that towards the end of this video, so stay tuned for that to know when this cold pattern will come to an end generally. Here's by the time we're reaching about 6 a.m. there on Thursday, March 4th. And as you can see, again, the cold is just a little bit less potent here than it was on some of those prior days. So we see this first cooldown kind of weakening, but rest assured this isn't the only cooldown. And actually, this isn't even really the cooldown I made this video for. There's one coming up that's also quite significant that's going to be coming up a few days after this point. And we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to move towards that second cooldown where we're going to see even more potent cold air make its way in just a moment. Now, by the time we're reaching about, I would say 6 a.m. here on Friday, March 5th, you can see that it actually becomes a little bit more potent here. We see those greens mostly for the Ohio Valley, up in through the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Again, those greens very, very widespread, and then also those blues within the greens, where again, we're seeing about 15 to 30 degrees below normal. So that significant cold air makes its way back in generally here. We do see some warmer air return for the plains, the south central United States, and the north central United States, as well as the northwest. So again, you guys are just flipping all over the place. This upcoming pattern is so volatile. It's going in all different directions from what you can see. It's just going to be extreme overall. And I mean, especially those changes are going to be extreme. Those flips, and I think that could lead to some thunderstorms, some weird wacky things going on with those big air mass changes going on. That's typically what you would see from that. Now let's take this towards about 6 a.m. on Saturday, March 6th, and as you can see, again, still that cold air for the eastern United States, but now it's entered into the south central United States again, just all over the place. We went from about maybe 10 degrees above normal for Texas to probably about 10 degrees below normal, so about a 20 degree shift there in a matter of 24 hours. It's a very extreme shift there. Let's take that towards about 6 a.m. on Sunday, March 7th, and as you can see, that cold air becomes a little bit more potent and just really anchors in for the eastern United States here, with those greens basically from Texas through eastward to Georgia, up north all the way to Maine, where we even see those blues again, the 15 to 30 degree below normal temperatures for New England. Very, very cold here for this pattern that we're in. And then, as you can see, by 6 a.m. on Monday, March 8th, you can see that warmer air is pushing its way east. It is over the upper Midwest there in the Great Lakes, but the immediate East Coast is still in those bright greens, as well as those blues within the greens. So anywhere from about, I would say, 10 to 30 degrees below normal up and down the eastern seaboard, all the way from Florida to Maine there. Very interesting. But by the time we reach about Tuesday, March 9th, look at that. The warm air returns for the eastern United States according to our European model. The cold air returns out west, so we go kind of into a negative PNA here, the opposite of what that pattern was for about, I would say, 7 days or so there in the first week of March that we just took a look at. And we just see this negative PNA set in, positive AO, positive NAO. We'll talk about those teleconnections in just a moment, but we're going to move forward with that pattern in just a moment, take a look at the rest of that all the way to about March 12th. We're going to take a little bit of a look at that precipitation and then those teleconnections to close out the video in just a moment. Now, by the time we're taking a look at about Wednesday at about 1 p.m. there, you can see it's a lot of the same, those very warm temperatures for the eastern half of the United States and very cold temperatures out there for the western half of the United States. Very, very interesting pattern we find ourselves in here. This is a huge extreme flip from what we were just seeing a few days before this. So you can tell that, again, it's just volatile and all over the place. Those browns you see in the eastern half of the United States is actually 15 degrees or more above average. So this pattern after this very cold one is actually going to feel a lot like spring for a lot of regions. Let's say your average high temperature is 50. Well, you're going to be in the 60s, pushing on 70s. So a lot of areas here are going to have some pleasant weather. For those of us that are hoping for some spring conditions to set in, this is kind of what you're hoping for here. We could see that early spring arrival here if this plays out the correct way, and it looks like it possibly will. By the time we're reaching about 1 p.m. on Thursday, you can see we have, again, those darker reds and the browns still around for the eastern half of the United States. So if we see this negative PNA, positive AO pattern set in, we could see a very early spring here in the eastern United States, at least, and a lot of the central United States as well, throughout the month of March. And then by the time you're reaching April, if we see this pattern stick in through April, your average temperatures are going up so high that you're going to have less and less chances of those very, very cold periods of time So this is going to help transition us into a springtime pattern that might be quite pleasant. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Here's that precipitation. This is the total precipitation through 240 hours, which is exactly 10 days. So through March 12th, we're going to get a nice lull in the rain. Especially the eastern United States has been having an extreme amount of rain throughout the month of February, but it looks like we're going to get a nice break here for the first half of March. I mean, a lot of areas here hardly seeing any, like my local area here in Southeast Virginia, under an inch of rain over the next 10 days. We definitely need it because we've had like 15 inches in the month of February, so just an extreme amount of rain. The only significant areas of rainfall is the southeast, where you're maybe going to have, again, 2 or 3 inches, and that's mostly due to the rain that's coming as we speak that we took a look at on radar. And then out west, you can see even for California, even for Southern California they're going to get some nice rainfall, maybe an inch or two over the next few weeks. Very interesting to see the West Coast getting tons of rainfall, but that is typical in that negative PNA. So as that negative PNA sets in eventually, again, towards the later portion of this 10-day period, we could see some storminess out there in the west that could lead to some rainfall. Hopefully it's not too significant. Hopefully we don't see any of those major impacts that rainfall can bring to this region. Hopefully it's just a nice, refreshing rainfall that those areas always are in great need of. Anyways, for our confidence tab, we're at a 6 out of 6. I am feeling greatly confident in this because the teleconnections are strongly suggesting that we're going to have these big pattern flips. And everything I just showed you according to the European model appears to be supported by the direction the teleconnections are going in. So I feel very confident that we're going to have a cold period in the east for the next 7 days or so, and then possibly a little bit less confident in that warm-up afterwards, but still about a 5 or 6 in that as well, because they have that huge flip in the teleconnections as well that points towards warm in the east. So I'm feeling like there's some great support for this pattern coming up. I feel very confident in it at this point. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys in our March forecast yesterday, which you can check out today, I asked you guys, how do you hope that this upcoming March goes? And Chris Coleman said, I hope March is very pleasant and not stormy. Yes, I love spring. And yes, I do think that that will be the case at least through the first couple of weeks of March, because as you just saw, we're expecting hardly any precipitation. So unless you're in the coastal western United States or the southeast, you should be in good shape, Chris Coleman. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Sebastian Tao, John Benbenick, James Wade, Dovie Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry LePan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aidan Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Alan Cherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Mark J., Luke Faligo, Gary's, and John Quilisi. If you guys would like to join this patron and screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.